What's happening, peeps and peepants? I hope you guys are having an awesome day. In this video, I'm actually going to show you guys a couple of tips and tricks when you're doing your builds. Now, for the last... okay. Now, for the last... that was just funny. For the last couple of weeks, I have not uploaded any video on my channel, and that has to do with me not having a lot of time to actually make videos, life issues and stuff like that. But the time that I did have, I actually spent reading Reddit, various posts, social media and stuff like that to actually see what the current meta build is in Star Trek Online. And I'm actually talking about the current meta as of date 17th of March of 2018. And this is what I've come up with. I'm actually using a build, or at least a ship, that I'm actually going to show you guys that is really interesting. And I hope you guys find it a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of knowledge gain from this video. Now, I'm actually going to show you guys everything that has been found on this build, this video, one step at a time. And I'm actually going to start with something that I find interesting, that not a lot of people actually display, or at least talk about into details, and why they're actually going a certain route. And what I'm actually talking about right now is bridge officers. Bridge officers is, I think, is most important, or at least equally important as the items that you're going to use and abilities that you're going to use on a particular ship. Now, these bridge officers that I've actually selected, I'm actually going to show you guys the reason behind that. So we got here this guy, and the reason why I'm actually using this guy, and I'm not talking about the abilities, I'm talking about the traits. Now, the reason why I'm actually using this particular person right here, this guy is a Krenim bridge officer. You can get these from the fleet holdings. Now, the reason why I'm actually using a Krenim bridge officer is because this guy gives us a plus 10% in power recharge speed of all of the engineering bridge officer abilities. Now, the current build that I'm using doesn't have a lot of bridge officer abilities that are utilizing the engineering, but there are some that are really important, and this one is one of them, the emergency power to weapons. Now, you kind of need to have this on a lower cooldown because you actually need this thing to rotate as fast as possible to be available again and again and again. This has to do with your weapon power, your shield power, engine power, and your auxiliary power. And having this on a short cooldown duration is going to be beneficial to those. Catan right here is a Romulan, also available from the fleet holding. And the reason why I'm actually using this thing is because it gives plus 2% in critical chance and plus 5% in critical severity. Now, the current meta build has to do with a couple of main topics. So, a high critical chance, a high critical severity, a high damage output, and a low bridge officer ability cooldown. So, those four items, those four topics has to do with the current meta build. Everybody that's doing a high amount of damage output are focused upon on those couple of topics. So a high amount of critical chance, high amount of critical severity, high amount of damage output in your particular beams, torpedoes, whatever have you, and a low amount of cooldowns. So let's say a particular skill you need to utilize over and over again as fast as possible. So I'm actually using two of these Romulan operatives. So I got Catan and Karas right here, traits. So both of these guys are giving me a 2% critical chance. So in total, a plus 4 in critical chance and plus 5 in critical severity. So in total, plus 10 in critical severity. Now, if you're using Romulans or Klingons or abilities that have cloaking or ships that have cloaking, this is also going to give you a plus 15 in power recharge speed for the cloaking. So if you use two of them, plus 30%. in the recharge time of your cloaking. So keep that in mind. If you are a Romulan or Klingons, you definitely want to give a closer look at these Romulan operatives. Next, I'm using this guy Temzo right here, and Temzo is really cool because he has the pirate ability, and he's a Nausicaan, right? As species, he's a Nausicaan, and he has a pirate ability, or trait, I should say, that is going to give you a plus 1.5 bonus to all damage. Like I said, 4 topics, high amount of damage is one of them, and that is something that you as well need to strive for if you're going to use, this particular build, or you're going to be inspired by this build. You could strive for this as pilot, as a trait for your bridge officers. And lastly, I'm going to use Det, and Det has efficient. Efficient is going to give you warp core efficiency whenever your power levels are going to drop below 75. It's going to enhance that. And that also has Pirate. So, an enhancement of 1.5% bonus all damage as well. In combination with Temzo, this guy is going to give us a 3% bonus to all damage that are going to come out of our ship towards the enemy. Right? So those are the bridge officers. Now, obviously, you can copy this build, and that is definitely something that you don't hear me say a lot. You can definitely use this build as your own because it's doing a high amount of damage. I'm actually using reroute power from life support that's going to enhance our power levels, a little bit of healing and survivability right here with a little bit of damage resist. A tactical team, chemo, beam fired will beta to debuff your enemy, and I'm using beta ×2 and beam fired will ×2 just to have that as often available as it can be with the bridge officer cooldown reductions. These are basically all the time available. Also, emergency power to weapons. Now, I could use another emergency power to weapon right here. I actually could remove one of these because survivability is not really a big issue with this particular build. But yeah, that's something to think about. If you wanna go that route, you can definitely remove one of these. Maybe this one engineering team and have a second emergency power to weapon ability right there, because you basically need one of these to survive. That's quite enough. For science abilities, I'm just using a science team for cleansing and debuff hazard emitters, and photonic officer just to have a lower cooldown in bridge officer abilities. Now this thing goes in cooldown for 60 seconds, so you can actually use it once for an encounter, but then everything is is base reducted by 50%. So it's really high on reduction in bridge officer abilities. So all of these abilities are going to be reduced by 50% when they're in use. So this is basically my build. This is something that I could enhance maybe on here with miracle worker abilities, or I don't know. I can enhance it even further than that, but this is the way it is right now. It's really good on this particular build. Now, I am going to show you guys all of the items that I'm using because I just want to give you guys some inspiration, or at least some kind of information that you guys might inspire to use, or just might think of something that you have never thought about by watching this video. So I have a couple of beams that I'm actually utilizing, that I'm trying out. I also tried out the phasers, but they wouldn't really enhance that much, so I switched over to Disruptor. Now, for the last 2 weeks, like I said, I've been, looking over Reddit posts, build posts, and stuff like that. What is the current meta? And this is what I've learned so far. So, the current meta, like I said, is based upon Disruptor damage. Like I mentioned before, those 4 items: crit severity, critical chance, bridge officer reduction, and the enhancement of your weapons. My particular weapons, disruptor, so anything that is going to enhance disruptors, I've equipped it on this build. And I've also upgraded all of the weapons to as high as Mark 14 as possible, to epic quality, and also re-engineered them to have a critical chance and a damage modifier. So if you enhance your normal beams, I think this one has the old modifier. There, you guys can see it. It's accuracy, damage, and then crit D times 4. But these are critical crit D, so enhancing critical severity, damage, and then times 4 in damage as well. So I'm using 3 of these guys right here just to do an immense amount of DPS. I'm also using the Nausicaan 3-set piece, so I got the beam, torpedo, and the universal console right here, or the console right there. And the reason why, we can go here in more details, is because this thing, if you're using all 3 pieces of this space set, you're going to get an enhancement of 26.6 in disruptor damage. Now, my build all about disruptor, so disruptor damage is going to be enhancing everything that I'm using. Also, another benefit is plus 50 to hull penetration. So whenever this thing is going to fire off all beams or whatever, torpedoes, that is going to come off of my ship is also going to get in hull penetration as well. So those are that. I'm also using the Terran Task Force Disruptor Beam Array. This thing is really nice because it's, you know, it scales up with the high or the low amount of hull that the enemy is going to get. As you guys can see, can read right here, damage dealt increases as target hull decreases, up to 200% of the damage at hull at 25% hull of the enemy. So the lower the amount of hull the enemy is going to have, the higher this thing is going to, you know, kick in disruptor damage towards your enemies. So definitely utilize this thing, is going to deal out a lot of damage. The deflector that I'm using. Okay, so, and this is based off on the current meta. The current meta, what I mean by that is everybody that is doing high amounts of DPS currently as of March 17th, that is on a Saturday, 2018, is using this particular build, or at least a variety of this build, but all of the items are basically the same. All of the, you know, the high damage dealing characters, or, you know, people in the game currently are using this particular build. So everybody is using the the elite fleet intervention protomatter, a deflector array with a couple of mods right there. So 8.8 in hull capacity, that's going to, you know, enhance our hull. Shield capacity is going to enhance our hit points in shield. Impulse expertise is going to give us speed and turning rate. Electroplasma system, short EPS. You probably heard of that. It is going to improve the power levels when they're going to recharge. So the things that they're going to be increasing is going to have, you know, a really positive effect if you have that in a higher number. Weapon specialization, critical chance with weapons, critical hit chance with weapons. So, you know, landing a critical hit, very important these days. Shield penetration. Now, the 3-set bonus gave us hull penetration. This thing is going to give us shield penetration. So we're going to penetrate the shield. Whenever your enemy is going to have like full shield, you're still going to penetrate that a little bit. Something you definitely should not forget. Plus 15% in critical severity, plus 4% in critical chance, based upon the hull percentage. So the higher the hull is going to be on your ship, the higher this critical chance and critical severity is going to be. 100% is going to be 15% in critical severity. So if your hull is at 100%, plus 4 in critical chance. So that is going to enhance these numbers right here, critical chance and critical severity. So I'm actually using, for my engines and my shield, I'm actually using the Nucara piece, Nucara 2-set piece. the on base is going to have these modifiers, and you cannot re-engineer these. So it's, you know, increasement in speed and turning rate of your ship, sector speed. Whoever uses sector speed anymore, but it's up there. Flight speeds, flight to turn rate is really good, and +5 to shield power, and also +5 additional shield power bonus increases at low shield power. So definitely a high shield power, as you guys can see, 95 when I'm at 55 stock. And full impulse, that's good. And the reason why we're actually, or at least why they are actually using the 2-piece set of the Nukara is because of the 2-piece set gives you guys +5% in bonus energy or weapon damage. So it's going to enhance the damage overall of your weapons by +5%. And also weapon stabilizer automatically removes weapon disabled when you're doing Tholians. They love getting your weapons offline, and this one can remove that, but it can only do that once every 60 seconds. So 2-piece set on that, so shield and engines. And for the warp core, I'm using the, or at least they are using the Elite Fleet Plasma Integrated Warp Core with lots of modifiers right there. So we got 66 in power transfer rate for your enhancement of your power levels. Minus 10% in weapon power cost. So whenever you're going to fire a weapon, it's going to remove 10 points from your weapon power. Now this thing is going to remove 10% out of that cost. So basically I think it's 9.1 or something like that. That's going to cost you instead of 10. So you're going to remove, or at least you're going to have a little bit of reserve in your weapon power. Resistance rating to subsystem power drain. Yeah, whenever they're going to use, like, you know, energy siphon and stuff like that, you're going to have a little bit of resist to that. Maximum warp factor, sure about that. Warp core efficiency. So whenever your weapon power is going to be below 75, having a lot of points in that is going to increase the, you know, the weapon, or at least the power levels really quickly. That could be shield, engines, or auxiliary, not just weapons. This thing also adds 7.5% of your weapon power to your engine power as bonus power. So whenever I'm going to use this particular ability right here, emergency power to weapons, 7.5% is going to go to my this one, to my engines as bonus power right here. Very nice, right? Also plus 3.3% all damage per systems with 75 or more power. The current total is 9.9. So whenever your power levels are going to be higher than 75, you're going to get 3.3% in increasement in your damage. So definitely awesome. Recharge time reduction, cool, and as bonus, add 7.5% of your weapon power to your shield power, also as bonus power. So not only your shield, but also your engines are going to be enhanced 7.5% from your weapon power. So whenever you're going to enhance your weapon power right here, shield and engines are also going to be enhanced as well. And there is also a clicky right here with a 4-minute cooldown that's going to give you plus 15 in weapon power setting for the next 10 seconds. So that's definitely cool. And also red matter capacitor is going to increase by 5 for the next 10 seconds, but that has to do with a duty officer that I'm currently using. The shields, not a lot to say about it, just, you know, reduces dead trend radiational damage 10%, 1% to reflect 200, that's just, you know, that's normal with 50% shield penetration. Regeneration every 6 seconds, 5% in absorption, 5% in bleed through. Absorption is, you know, it's going to absorb the incoming hits, and bleed through is going to let them pass. So this is basically shield pen for your for the enemy. With a high amount of shield capacity. We also talked about the 5% bonus. That's something that we definitely need to strive for. Current aft weapons is the House of Martok 360-degree energy weapon. Why are they actually using that? Because the 2-piece set you know, the House of Marduk is just, you know, disruptor based damage. It's not, you know, something special or anything like that. It's just a, you know, 360-degree beam. Cool, right? Very cool. The only thing that's why they're using it is because it's disruptor based. So every console that you're going to equip on the tactical is going to be enhancing that one as well. And also this thing, if you have two pieces of this thing, is going to give you 2.5% in critical chance for all of your beams that you're going to, or beams, torpedoes, whatever you're going to use, turrets, or is going to enhance that. And also plus 15 in accuracy rating, because you really want to hit your enemy. You don't want to miss on your enemy, because, you know, it's going to cost you a lot of resources if you miss. I'm also using the Nausicaan torpedo. We also said that using the 3-piece set is going to do 26.6% disruptor damage with 50% shield pen. And the benefit from this torpedo is because even though this torpedo is based on like a torpedo firing mode, it is doing energy-based damage. So it's not doing kinetic-based damage, it's doing energy-based damage. And this thing is also doing disruptor damage. So everything on the tactical right here, that is going to enhance this one as well. So if you're using torpedo spread or high yield, this thing is going to be insane amount of DPS is going to go towards your enemy. Now, obviously, red matter capacitor, temporal negotiator for cooldown in your bridge officer reduction, and subspace field modulator if you want to have, like, you know, oh snap moment, everything is going to is going to die around me, and I think, you know, I might die, so use this as a last resort. Now, one thing that I definitely want to mention, and I just want to emphasize this a little bit, and also the reason why I'm actually using or at least this particular carrier. So all of the ships, including some tier 5-U ships, are having room for 11 console slot, and that is true for every ship that is available currently in the game. And also maybe in the foreseeable future, all of them have 11 console slots. So if we count 2 up here with 4 up here makes 6, with 5 tactical consoles comes out to 11, right? 11 console slots. And that is, you know, my ship, that's your ship, that's everybody's ship. Except this ship. This ship is the bomb. This ship is the best ship out there. And I'm not just saying that because I love carriers. And if you guys are new and you're like, what the hell is he talking about? Trust me, this ship has an extra universal console slot right here. So that means you can have an enhancement in engineering right there, enhancement in science right there, or enhancement in tactical slot right here. This extra console slot right there. And as you guys can see, I am utilizing this console slot to enhance my disruptor based damage by 37.5%. So if we count 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 1 is 12. This ship, the Zenkethi Dreadnought Carrier, has room for 12 console slots. Right? 12 console slots. So this thing is going to enhance your weapons times 6, just going by the meta build, right? All of the meta build is because currently they're using, you know, 5 of these vulnerability locators that is going to enhance disruptor damage and critical chance. As you guys can see right here, my critical chance is high enough. If I actually remove this thing, my critical chance is at 31.7, just because I'm using like 5 of these things. That is, each of them are enhancing my critical chance by 1.9, 1.9, 1.9, 1.9. So my critical chance is really high. So I could do another critical chance to gain my critical chance a total of 33.6. and have like 6 of these vulnerability locators, but I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to enhance my critical severity by an exploiter. So 144.8 in critical severity and critical chance by 31.7 and an accuracy rating of 33.9. So how did I get all of that? Well, that is just the basic meta build. The basic meta build is using the assimilated module that is giving you critical chance, critical severity, +5 in engine power setting, and then control and expertise, or damage control and control and expertise. That is, you know, the whole regenerative as in passive whenever you are in combat or out of combat, and also control expertise, let's say gravity well and stuff like that, and also resistance to the same. So if you're using gravity well and you want to enhance that, you know, you can have a simulator module that's going to make it a little bit tougher for your enemies to escape gravity well. What they're also using is the Tachyokinetic Converter. Why they're using that? Control expertise. You know, if you want to use, like I said, gravity well and stuff like that, or resistance to being held. Flight turn rate is cool for this particular ship because it has a really low amount of turning rate. As you guys can see, 5.6 degrees per second. Critical chance and critical severity. So the Tachyokinetic Converter is enhancing that. So definitely an addition to that. It's definitely cool. The 3-set piece of the Nausicaan right here is going to give us drain expertise or resistance to the same. Let's say the Borg is want to drain your shield, you know, having a lot of resist, the tougher it's going to be for them to deplete your shields. 33.4% in power transfer rate. That is definitely something you need to be striving for. Have that as high as it can go for your power transfer. To go from a lower amount to a higher amount, it's going to be faster. And also +25 in disruptor damage. Remember those 4 categories, the 4 topics that I talked about: critical severity, critical chance, the disruptor damage in my particular case, and bridge officer cooldown. So this thing is also enhancing the disruptor base damage by 25%. Now this is something that the meta build is not really sure of what to use, because I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit later when I'm, finishing off this particular showcasing. So we got the bio-neural infusion, whole capacity, control, expertise, so resistance to gravity well and stuff like that, but also +25% in critical severity. Now, if you guys don't know what critical chance and critical severity is, let me just give you guys a little bit of a short introduction to that. So critical chance is going to enhance the hits that you're going to dish out to your enemy. And the higher the critical chance is going to be, the higher you're going to get a critical landed on your enemy. And what is a critical? Well, a critical, it can be enhanced by critical severity. And a critical is just... it's just an enhancement, so you're going to deal an extreme amount of damage with one critical chance, and that critical chance is going to enhance by critical severity. Now, I don't know if I explained it really correctly, but you need a high critical chance to land a critical hit, and that critical hit is going to be modified by the amount of critical severity, the number that you guys are seeing right here. The higher this amount, the higher the critical hit is going to be, and you need a high critical chance to land a critical hit to be enhanced by critical severity. All right, moving on. The engineering, the House of Mornak 2-piece set, or at least they are using this thing because it gives you maximum hit points, shield hit points, engine hit points, shield capacity, turning rate, and 2.5 critical chance, and also the 15 in accuracy rating. As you guys can see right here, an accuracy rating of 33.9 is really good because you definitely want to land a hit on your enemy. Now, getting back to this thing, because I actually skipped it. And the reason why I'm actually skipping it is because the meta build, like most of the people that are using, high amount of, or at least a high amount, they're dealing out a high amount of DPS. They're really not sure about using or not using this thing because they have a limited amount of console slots. Like I said, every ship currently and, for the foreseeable future are using 11 console slots. And I'm actually using 12 because, this particular ship is, have that as an option. And the temporal disentanglement suite gives +5 to auxiliary power. Also plus 25% in maximum shield capacity. So more points in our shields. And why I'm actually using it is the following: 0 to 2.5% in critical chance based on the auxiliary level, and also 0 to 10% chance, or no, percentage on critical severity based on the auxiliary power level. Now, everything is based on auxiliary. So if you have a high amount of auxiliary level right here, I have at 78, you're going to get a high critical chance and also a high critical severity because it is based upon the auxiliary. Now, my particular playstyle is using the auxiliary power to enhance the cooldown reduction of my hanger pets. The higher this is going to be, the faster I can respawn a pet. So I'm not using a aux to bat build, because if I would use an auxiliary to bat build, that was going to deplete all of my auxiliary. These guys are, are going to have a penalty. The cooldown of these guys are going to be really high because the auxiliary is going to be really low. So I'm actually enhancing my critical chance and critical severity by a high amount of auxiliary power at maximum of 2.5 and 2.5 critical chance, and also 10% in critical severity. So that's why I'm actually using it. I could also use this. Now this is a universal console that comes with the Zenkethi ship. This also enhances the flight to turn rate by 17.8 and also 10% in critical severity. So that enhances this thing. So if you're going to land a critical hit, that critical hit is going to be enhanced and is going to be dealing out a lot of DPS. But I've found that if I put a exploiter on, it's going to enhance the critical severity as well. Close to 10%. This thing gives you 10 and this thing gives you 9.4. So it's negligible. The turning rate, that's a benefit for utilizing this console, is good, 17.8. But I found that all of the items that have been equipped are working really good with this ship. So I really can miss on the turning rate on this thing. For the rest, I would say this particular ship, or this particular build, is really good. Damage resist, as you guys can see right here, could be a little bit better, but when I'm in combat and I'm utilizing all of these abilities, my damage resist is going to be off the roof, or at least I'm fine with that. The damage resist is going to be around 25%, 23, 28% on all of these. So, that's good for my particular playstyle. You guys, could go with a lower damage resist or a higher damage resist. It's up to you. I'm just showing what is available currently. Maybe you guys can do some inspiration based upon this video, this particular build, and go your route, or at least your particular route with your particular playstyle. Show shield capacity 22.788 with a shield regeneration of 2,300 every 6 seconds, with a hull repair rate of 98.2% and a hull capacity of 75,000 hit points. Now, I do have to say one thing, because I'm at the triple testing server, that's why you guys are seeing a number 2 right here. I have not finalized this build. Mostly all of the items that you guys are seeing right here, I've copied, or at least have been enhanced and upgraded on the holodeck server. So this is the particular build that I'm going to use from now on forth. Unless you guys post in the comment section, this was wrong and this was better. So I can enhance that as well. And for this reason, this one is better and this one is wrong. But as it is right now, this is the build that I'm going to use. The current meta actually doesn't use the temporal disentanglement suit, but uses these two particular consoles. Now this one is from the NX Escort refit, and this one is from I forgot, some kind of retrofit version. The Escort, the NS Escort, is currently up for sale around 200 million, 215 or something like that, and the other one about 300 or something like that if you want to have this console. And the reason why they're actually using the 2-piece set is because of this, the Alliance weaponry. So 33% in phaser, disruptor or plasma, whatever you are using for your build, to enhance your DPS for the directed energy based weapons. Because I'm actually using the exploiter, I'm actually gaining a little bit more than 33. I'm actually gaining 37.5% in disruptor damage. So I'm actually a little bit ahead of the current meta on this particular build. That's why I said this, this particular build could be like, the best build that is currently in the game, because it is room for 6 console slots in tactical. That's insane. Man, I'm just really excited about this. So the only thing that I haven't showed you guys is the skills and abilities, or at least the abilities I already showcased. This is what I'm actually using. I could go for offensive abilities right here, maybe direct energy modulator, and maybe another one right here for I don't know. It's up for debate. We can debate whatever I'm could be using, like offensive or defensive. But anyway, these are the skills that I think could be interesting. So we got energy based weapon training, all of them, shield cap, and I haven't done any in shield restoration, and I'm going to explain why not. Hull cap, and a little bit of restoration, ticks that are when you are not in combat. EPS, obviously you need that to enhance your weapon powers. I did not do full energy shunt, because I really don't. With this particular ship, you really are good. You really don't need a higher, faster to use full impulse to go to your particular enemy. I just basically use evasive maneuvers. That's on a really cool short cooldown, so why not? Impulse expertise, like I said, don't really use it, so I actually use that a lot. The turning rate and speed of this thing is quite good for a carrier, so I'm not putting any points in that. Control and drain, like I said, I'm not using gravity well. I'm not using any drain abilities, so no points into that. Maybe you guys can let me know, and why should I put any points in this? I don't have any abilities that do drain or control, so why? Target and defensive maneuvers, that's a no-brainer. Weapon amplification and specialization, also a no-brainer. Shield hardness, and I didn't put any points in that because my shields are okay with high capacity. Whenever you're going to have a shield, it's going to be negligible, the amount of damage it's going to take. And whenever you're going to use, or at least whenever you're going to go up against like Borg and stuff like that, they're basically going to drain your shield. So putting points into hardness, it's basically, why bother, right? When your shields are gone, they're gone. So I put a couple of points in regeneration right here. So whenever my shields are depleted, they're going to be regenerating a little bit faster. So, 2 points in that. Damage control, sure, why not? Because I had to put points somewhere. Also, this thing is really cool in, whenever your hull is going to be low, this helps out a little bit in regenerating your hull. Hull plating, resistance to energy-based and kinetic-based. Fun fact, I actually did this build like twice or 3 times over, and I didn't put any points in here in hull plating. And each time I was coming across an enemy that I killed off, And I was like, oh, okay, let's, move on to the next enemy and not even think about like, the warp core breaches, the second explosion that you come across whenever you kill an enemy. Every time my hull was like about 90% or something like that, and the warp core breached on the enemy that I killed, my hull went all the way down to 10% or 5%, or sometimes, it actually killed me. And I was like, what's going on? And then I thought about, okay, hull plating, that's, going to give me a little bit of damage resist. So, that was the really funny part. I was like, okay, this thing is killing me in how am I actually dying up here? So I put this 1 point in here and I didn't die as often, or at least not at all anymore. Defensive, offensive, definitely weapons to enhance your weapons, and also the auxiliary. Like I said, higher auxiliary, high critical chance, higher auxiliary, also going to recharge my my hanger pets. So put 2 points in that. I didn't do any in shields or engines. Exotic particle generator, I'm not using that, so why bother? Long range sensors for the penalty, the distance to your enemy. Hull and shield penetration, that's a no-brainer. Warp core potential, I did 2 points in that to give myself a little bit more power in each subsystems. I didn't do warp core efficiency because I have like, the bridge officers and stuff like that. So whenever my powers are going to be below 75, they're going to kick up really fast because I have like traits and ability that's going to give that, to take that really high. So I didn't actually put points up there. Engineering and science readiness, I didn't put a lot of points in that because I don't have a lot of science abilities. Only this thing, and this thing is a global cooldown of 60, so it's not going to be affected by that if I put a point up here. For science, for engineering, I could have put a 1 point up here to have just for this thing, to have it a little bit on faster cooldown. Shield mastery, not at all, because my shields only when I find the Borg are depleted. When I'm not fighting the Borg, it's it's negligible. Tactical readiness, definitely. As you guys can see, I'm tactical oriented, tactical heavy, so definitely had a lot of points in that. And this one is because I'm using a carrier and I'm using pets, this is a must. So 20% in hull and shield capacity for your hanger pets, and also 5% in hull capacity and shield capacity for all other teammates and their summoned allies. Summoned allies could be like those pirate Nimbus that you guys use, or what was it? I forgot. The fleet also had one. I forgot right now what that one was called, but whenever you summon an ally when your hull is below 50% or something like that, you have the option to summon an ally. And also this thing, the Pirates Nimbus Pirate Distress Call, you can actually they're going to benefit of that, so their hull and shield capacity is going to be enhanced 5%, and also plus 20% in accuracy and base damage for the hanger pets, and also plus 5% accuracy and base damage for all the other teammates and their summoned allies. So if you have like another carrier in your team, they're also going to be enhanced by this ability. So you're definitely going to enhance that as well. One thing that I didn't showcase is the roster. So we got Con Officer right here. Tactical team is going to enhance the critical chance with our weapons. And I definitely use tactical team also for redistributing my shields. So that's, one of the best abilities that I think is available. 50% chance reduces the remaining time by 10%. That has to do with like beams. So these things are going to be have a reduction in their cooldown. I have the exocomp right here for shield batteries, red matter capacitor. There's going to increase our power levels by 5 for the next 10 seconds. Also, if you're using batteries, weapon, shield batteries, auxiliary batteries, engine batteries, all of them are going to benefit from that. We have a 20% chance to increase our power levels by 25%. That is, whenever I'm going to activate this ability, there is a 20% chance that it's going to enhance all of them by 25%. So shield, engines, auxiliary, and weapons by 25. Very nice. Now this has to do with being a carrier fanatic. You gotta have these. These are a reduction in 4 seconds of the recharge time whenever you're going to spawn in these hangar pets. And I also have this thing that I'm really not 100% sure about. I'm kind of doubting about if I should use it or not. This thing, or this duty officer is enhancing the pet damage by 10% in escort mode. Now, if you guys don't know what escort mode is whenever you have like an ally or, you know, somebody that you want to guard. You put your pets on escort, and whenever enemy is attacking your teammate that you have selected on, your pets are going to attack their teammates, or at least their enemies. You also have other options right here to put your pets on intercept, like destructible torpedoes and stuff like that, warbirds and high yield torpedoes from the enemies. Your pets are going to target them first and then the enemy. Recall to put your hangar pets in up here in your ship, and also just attack my target. That's basically the short version of these powers right here. So that's it. That's about everything that I had to show you guys. The current meta build is using, just to recap, these 2 consoles. But I'm not using these because using these 2 consoles is basically going to take up 2 console slots. Instead of, I'm actually using one of these console slots to have an enhancement of 37.5%. And I'm actually using this thing that's enhancing all of those critical chance and critical severity. Now, like I said, I'm in trouble, so I don't have access to the combat boost performance thingamajab that you get from the Spire. Is it the Spire? Okay, one of those fleet holdings. But I do have the, and I definitely recommend you guys using these. These are from the Starbase. All of these are going to enhance your engineering, tactical, and science abilities by 10%, or by 10. Sorry, not 10%, but just by 10. So I definitely would say use these, and also Ablative Jevanite. Use that because that is going to enhance your hull plating. I'm currently at 77,000. So if I enhance that, it should go up. Yeah, there it goes. 92. Also a cool damage resist. The only thing that's for me to showcase is how this thing is going to handle itself in combat. Now, I did also try out these, the Coalition, but Coalition and these don't have a lot of differences between them. Coalition is more like if you're using, team effort to actually help one another. And for the rest, let's take this thing into combat and see how good it's going to perform. So to start off, we are going to do Japori right now and go away. And I'm actually going to leave this thing open for you guys to see the statistics on this ship. It's going to be a little bit weird. Can I close this thing a little bit? No. Okay. It's going to be a little bit weird, but you guys can see the damage resist, crit severity go up and down and stuff like that. That's something that you guys always want to see. So here we go. I'm also going to leave my mouse right there so you guys can see the DPSs going on. So we got 20 crit, 11 crit, 10k crit. It's going to be a little bit difficult to position my ship. 15 right there. Where's the enemies? Where are the enemies? There we go. We have enemies right here. Got 14. Now, keep in mind, this is just, you know, work in progress. Obviously, this is just, you know, what the meta is using, what they are capable of. Maybe you guys can get some inspiration out of this as a build. And let me know if it can be improved. Comment section is all yours. Even though I don't think so, but you never know. Yeah, that was Japori. I mean, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do another, I'm going to do another patrol mission and maybe raise the difficulty level a little bit. I did raise the difficulty to advanced on this one, so let us see how it's going to handle. What kind of enemies we got? I'm seeing a warbird. All right, the Daredex warbird right there. Yeah. Now, even these ships that are on advanced difficulty, look at that, 15k right there. Look, I'm basically flying just like an escort on this thing. 18 again. Could use a little bit of hull healing, shield healing. No, they're not. Come on. 21, 27. Yeah, I know. This guy didn't even stand a chance. I mean, if you look at... Ooh, that's going to do a lot of DPS right there. If you look at the, you know, the DPS that this thing is doing, it's over 3k right there. Where's the enemy? Right there. Look, it's 2k disruption, 1.7 DPS. Hello? What was that all about? What hit us? Something hit us. Oh, we don't have a Blevanite. A Blade Chevanite. Where's the enemy? Right there. Scorpion fighters? Seriously? Alright. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section, guys. It's all yours. Shall I use this build? Shall I go like with a meta? Or... Because I'm really not really enjoying this type of playstyle. Everybody is dying too quickly. For me personally, it's not really fun to do, but it's like I said, this is just to showcase what is available as of March 17, what is currently available in STO. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna do a Argala patrol mission. Why not? Argala. So Argala right now also on advanced, didn't change that. And let's see how we can help these Benthans out. What do we got? We got Kazan. All right. No crit severity at 218, 217 right there. Critical chance at 39, 22, 11. Okay. All right, let's see. Can you stay there? Okay. Now DPS is at 2.3, 2k, 1.9. Disruptor damage is at 3k right there. $17k. Oh, carrier versus carrier. Who is going to win? Place your bets, place your bets. Oh, 44 right there. That's nice crits. I mean, As a build, definitely works, definitely is really cool. And you guys can see my shields and my hull has not been, oh, there they are, not been depleted at all. Here we go. Kind of this one too, a little bit of resistance here and there. We're at 33% resistance. More carriers. Yeah, dead. I mean, yeah. I mean, it works. Definitely cool. Even though I can't actually showcase this like in an infected conduit map, because I don't have lots of friends on Tribble. No friends. So I can't actually showcase the DPS what the thing is going to deal out. But as you guys can see, definitely around, I don't know, 80, 90, 100k, 200k? No idea. But it's definitely awesome to, you know, to have once, to see what is possible, and then just go back to, you know, to whatever build you're using. Lots of crit on this guy. Yeah. Yeah, that is, you know, the way that DPSs are basically doing it these days. Really high amount of damage output. Basically, the like I mentioned, like there are 4 items that you really need to strive for the highest maximum number available. Crit severity, no, critical chance, crit severity, high damage in whatever energy-based damage you're doing, or torpedo-based, kinetic-based damage which you're doing, and also reduction in bridge officer cooldown. All of the rest, as in damage resist, like hit points in shield on hull or pen or whatever, those are just, you know, an enhancement in, you know, in your DPS. These just good to have, but not really necessary. Like you guys saw me, there is nothing on this ship that is doing, like, I don't have the pen modifiers on my weapons anymore. It's, you know, it's all good. You have pen skills from traits and, you know, from space sets. So it's not really important anymore to have those kind of, you know, focuses on like weapons need to have pen. No, it's over with pen. It's over with crit D ×4. You know, it's over with. It's everything works, and everything is optional. But those 4 things that is really important is crit severity, critical chance, bridge officer cooldown, because you really want your bridge officers to have abilities to activate, to do DPS. And that's about it. That's, you know, that's going to give you a, I think this build is definitely going to do over 100k if I could have, like, I don't know, other people doing the same thing on infected or anything like that. And yeah, this is just, you know, showcasing to what are you able to do on DPS wise in as of March 2018. Anyway, let me know in the comment section if you like it, if you think, you know, you can improve on this build or not, if you're going to use it, or even if you are inspired by it. You know, there are lots of tips and tricks that I gave you guys, especially the bridge officers and their traits. Those are really something interesting to think about and to strive for, something that is, you know, maybe you have not really thought about completely through. Anyway, hope to see you on the next video, guys. Take care for now. Later.